إنما بغيكم على أنفسكم ظهر الفساد في البحر والبحر بما كسبت أيدي الناس سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون والسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. All praises to Allah Azza wa Jal, the creator of everything that exists. And we thank Allah Azza wa Jal for giving us this moment to spend in His house. And may His everlasting peace and blessings be upon His greatest creation and the crown of creation and His seal of creation, His beloved and our master Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and upon His household and the pious till the end of time. In this present day and time, in this world, on the face of this world, there's a great many people, due to the situation in the world, feel greatly disturbed, feel greatly disturbed about the halat or the situation that they find themselves in. In Urdu, people usually say, hum bahut pareshan hai, and people are disturbed. So today I'm going to speak about the present condition of the way we find ourselves. And I'm going to tell you what the cure for this halat is as well. And it is exactly what the ulama have been saying, and I've told you, they've been saying all along. And, the Quran says, unless you fix your individual halat, your individual selves, you have absolutely no hope, no chance whatsoever for your collective situation, your collective hal to improve. And Allah Azza wa Jal says in the Quran, I change no individual or no nation unless they have the will to change themselves. So, how does one individual, how do we change ourselves? And Allah Azza wa Jal says in the Quran, إِنَّمَا بَغْيُكُمْ عَلَىٰ أَنفُسِكُمْ, that know that humanity, whatever you do, is going to come back to haunt you. I'm translating it loosely. That whoever does, whatever you do, is going to come back to haunt you. So if you seek a life, if you live a life as an individual, or a member as a family or society or a community, or as a country or as an ummah of the Rasulullah sallam, and if you're distant from the hakams, if you're distant from Allah Azza wa Jal, and if you're distant from the teachings of the Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, then you're gonna be in a situation of ala anfusikum. It's going to come back to haunt you. It's going to come back to plague you. Then Allah Azza wa Jal says in the Quran, Zahara al-fasadu, that the fasad is going to become apparent. And how does it manifest itself? That it's going to be fil bara wal bahari. It's going to be on the land. It's going to be on the waters. It's going to be everywhere. Bima kasabat aydi an-nas, that is the means. Whatever we do ourselves as human beings, what we ourselves have earned with our own actions, that's what brings this fitna and this facade in the community and in this world that we live in. I mean, facade doesn't come about by its own self. The facade is a product that we ourselves have earned. And it's our amals, or in many cases, our lack of certain amals that has led to the situation that we find ourselves in. In fact, I would suggest that if we were to be honest, our bad amals or our lack of good amals are actually warrant and justify that much more should be happening to us right now, if you think what we get up to. And it is in fact a dua that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam that they made has saved this ummah from the azab of Allah Azza wa Jal. It is mentioned in the hadith that Hazrat Jibreel alayhi salam came to the Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam at a particular moment and told them to make a dua that if you make a dua at this very moment, Allah Azza wa Jal will accept it. And there is a masjid that marks this place. It's a walking distance from Masjid al-Nabi. I forgot the name, but it's not so far. It's within walking distance from Masjid al-Nabi, and they built a masjid just to mark that place where the Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam made this dua. And it's because of that, the duas that the Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam made there, that we'd been spared from the azabs of Allah Azza wa Jal that previously fell on other ummahs. Otherwise, as an ummah, we're doing sins of which have not even been exceeded by even the qawms of Ahad and Samud. If you think about how the human race, how's the ummah of the Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, how we've exceeded. Somebody asked an American lottery winner, knowledge is the property of the mu'min, seek it wherever wisdom can be found. So I'm not advocating, here anything, but the lesson to be learned. They asked an American lottery winner, he won a huge amount of money, hundreds of millions. And they asked him, how does it change a person? And he said, if you are a good person or a decent person and you win a lot of money, the chances are you still will be half a decent person. It will change you, from being a decent person to being half decent. But if you was a bad person, then it's going to change you even worse as a bad person. Now, one of the quotes that people misquote, they say money is the root of all evil. And it is a misquote, because the true quote is that the love of money is the root of all evil. Money itself is neither bad or good. It's same with knowledge, and it's same with technology. In themselves, by themselves, they're not bad. But if you look at the situation of the world as it is, in every department we've exceeded. In the past, if people sinned, there was a very few people, like bad tyrants that, killed a lot of people or did zulm upon things. But there was just a very few individual and unleashed it on the masses. But now everybody is doing it to everybody on a smaller scale. You take about, if you wanted to commit certain sins, and we talk about, about the Qawm Ad and Sodom and Gomorrah and what they got. If you look at today's age, what's happening on the planet, how people themselves are behaving, and made such advances that we're far exceeding the hudoods of Allah Azza wa Jal. You think about gambling. In previous times, you had to go out of your way to commit sin. Now, if you think about all these gambling syndicates that are on your phone constantly. There's so many of them. It's becoming a plague. People are suffering. People spend more money on gambling than they do on books or bread. That is a fact. And if you think about people are spending more money on gambling than they are on educating themselves or feeding themselves, it tells you about the state of affairs. The internet is a wonderful tool. If you think, somebody statistically said 80% of all the images on the net are of undressed women. It's become so much easier. Medical advance, people are using it. If you think in all areas, we've far exceeded in pursuing our desires. And that's what's causing all the fitna and the chaos in the world. So this is our real state. This is our real reality. You can go on and on. If you think about the top 600 people own 95% of the world's wealth. And these people are causing facade. If you look at the financial institutions, how corrupt they are, how they use and charge interest, and it's spread around the world. If you take the drugs syndicates, how they're so prevalent, spreading misery around the world. If you take about the cosmetics industry, how they make you more and more beautiful on the outside, and while you get uglier and uglier and uglier on the inside. If you look at all these, the music industry, if you lived a few hundred years ago, if you wanted to, you would have had to go out of your way to find some establishment and go there for a few hours and listen to some music. Now everybody's got them stuck in their ears all the time. So we've made huge advancements, but we've made them in the wrong direction. We've exceeded in all departments in that area, So we could go on and on and on, and you're wise people, and you better know that you know better than I do. But if you just reflect upon that, it shows you how the world has been plunged into darkness. If you really do, but most of the times, what people tend to do, they have a saying in our language that "Mol bidi dor masjidi tak," that the imam, all he is to and fro from the mosque and home. And for a lot of you brothers, if you live a blinkered life, you'll only see your own selves in the masjid. But if you open up your eyes, then you will see what is happening in the big wild world out there. And, something Dr. Shalom said to me the other day, sometimes people come who have problems, and he'll say to them, read Durud Sharif, and they say, what's Durud Sharif? So, don't have judge just because of the bubble that you're in. You have to judge everything by, have bigger vision than that. Think outside the box. There is people out there who are Muslims and don't even know what a Durud is, or how to send Durud upon the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So it is dire out there. So now, before I continue, I want to show you, a few more ayahs from the Quran, in which Allah Azza wa Jal has promised His madad, His nusrat, His najat to the mu'mineen, to help. He gave His help and to facilitate them. In which Allah Azza wa Jal says, and He's promised that He will help the believers. And after going through these verses, then we'll have a few options left. As believers, have we stopped being believers? Because Allah Azza wa Jal promises in the Quran. Allah Azza wa Jal says in the Quran, Inna lanansuru rasulana. Indeed, certainly we will help our messengers and prophets. Allah Azza wa Jalla says that in the Quran. And then the verse continues and he says, Wallazina amanu. And certainly indeed we will help the people of Iman. Fil hayat dunya, that we will help them in this life of this dunya, in the worldly matters. So Allah Azza wa Jalla is saying, indeed I will help my prophets and my Rasuls and the people of Iman in this life. So Allah is promising and is invoking with emphasis that His nusrat for the people who believe. And He is saying in this ayah that He will help them as much as He certainly helped the messengers of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. All of us are, alhamdulillah, familiar with the seerah of the Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and how much of Allah Azza wa Jalla's madad and nusrat came to them. Whether it was in Badr or, all the way to the Fatah in Makkah, all the way from Badr till after Fatah Makkah. Allah Azza wa Jalla helped them all the time. And miraculously, the angels came up Badr, and most of us are familiar with, with the seerah of the Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and how Allah Azza wa Jalla helped them. But Allah Azza wa Jalla is pledging equally that He surely will help the believers in our worldly lives. So we know that Allah Azza wa Jalla helped His Rasuls and His Nabis and the messengers. So why are we so despondent? So Allah Azza wa Jalla is saying that I will take them out of their parashani halat. I will take them out of their, the dire situation that they are in. And then Allah Azza wa Jalla is saying that it's lazim upon Him. We talk about haqooq al-ibad. We talk about haqooq al-Allah, Allah's rights over us. We talk about haqooq al-ibad, other people's right over us. Here Allah Azza wa Jalla has used the word haq alina, that He's, that He has made it upon Himself to help the people, right, to the believers. So Allah Azza wa Jalla uses the words allazina amanu. So it's something that is just for the muttaqeen or muhsinin or sadiqeen or sabirin. It is for the basic level entry. The person who just believes. So we know Allah's promises are true. So it's not as if Allah Azza wa Jalla knows billah, He's not keeping up to his end. Allah Azza wa Jalla is never changes. His promises are true. So there's the other possibility, which is a true reality that we stop being such believers, right, who would get the help of Allah Azza wa Jalla. And if people tend to think, people, they strategize and people plan and they watch the news, and they get into politics. They watch 16 hours, 6 to 7 hours of TV. They sit there and they plan and they debate. And we have become people like that. But that Allah Azza wa Jal wants us to be nur ala nur. Because we've not become nur ala nur, and we've just become, we just debate and debate and debate. I mean, if you look about how many TV channels there is, we sit there and we watch them, and then people have debates after that, and they go on and on. And you take these Pakistani channels, for instance. It's a joke to actually even watch them. They go on, and they insult each other and argue each other and argue on top of it. And it doesn't matter if you turn on a week later, they're exactly as if they never went home. They're still debating from last week. And it goes on, but nothing ever changes. And if you think about, if all them people, 150 million people, if they just made dua, if they, I worked it out, if they made dua, it'd be 14.5 billion hours of making dua if they all, instead of watching TV. We turn to Allah Azza wa Jal and pray to Allah Azza wa Jal to help us. Instead of watching, we underestimate the power of Islam and overestimate the power of news and politics and the way to change the world. We fail to understand how our deen teaches us to respond to these situations. Let's say some of you thinking that these allazina amanu. So there's another ayah in the Quran, Allah Azza wa Jal just makes it totally crystal clear. And the verse says, Ya ayyuhallazina amanu alaykum anfusakum. O you believe, it is lazim on you to fix your own selves. Remember the other verse? That helping the believers is lazim on Allah Azza wa Jalla. He said, it's lazim upon me to help the believers. Now Allah Azza wa Jalla is saying it's lazim on you, or believers, that you fix your own selves. Fix yourselves, fix your own individual selves. This is what's being taught, alaykum anfusakum. That means that every one of you should fix your own selves. That is lazim upon you. If you can fix this 6-foot body of yours, if you can fix these 7 organs of the body, then Allah Azza wa Jal will take care, and His help and His madad will come to the mu'mineen and Muslimin. Allah Azza wa Jal further goes on to say, Alaykum anfusakum la yudurrukum man dalla iza hataytum. That madalla is a person who's gone astray, who is on zalala. Then Allah Azza wa Jal saying, if you fix yourself, then a person who is on misguidance, right, it will not be able to harm you in any way. Those who are astray and those who wish to lead you astray will be unable to harm you in any way. And when that happens, when you do alaykum anfusakum, when you take care of your own self, then Allah Azza wa Jalla is saying that He knows who your enemies are. And then He will help you. All you have to do is just fix yourself. If you follow the guidance, if you follow the deen, if you follow the Quran and the Sunnah of the Rasulullah, there is no way that anyone is able to harm you. And all of you will return to Allah Azza wa Jal collectively. And Allah Azza wa Jal will inform you what you used to do. So do you not think it is better to figure it out in our lives, that what we're getting up to, rather than being informed by Allah Azza wa Jal on that day, and this is what you used to do, and this was your state of affairs. And Allah Azza wa Jal has told us clearly what we're supposed to do. Fix yourself. And there's another feature. It's just that we're born in this age of fitna. Some of the youngsters, they're born into it. They can't tell the difference. But some of us older ones, we live in a funny age where we can see the relative past and the present and the future. And we're witnessing this age of fitna. Allah Azza wa Jal says that fitna is more devastating than even murder. And we are worried about murders and killing that has begun recently. If you think about every day, people's lives have become cheap. And people's answers are that we just worry about our individual selves and our state of affairs. People, One thing you can never run away from is yourself. You go to places like Pakistan or other countries, and they want to go to Dubai, they want to go here, they want to come to England, they want to think. But the thing is, you're still with yourself. You are the problem. You're never going to find peace. And the Mashaykh, they've told us that if you want peace in the world, you got to have peace in the country that you live in. And if you want peace in the country that you live in, you got to have peace in the city that you live in. And if you want peace in the city that you live in, you've got to have peace in the community that you live in. And if you want peace in the community that you live in, you've got to have peace in the household you live in. And if you want peace in the household you live in, you've got to have peace in your own heart and mind and in your own self. So these people who are migrating from one place to another, all they're doing is just jumping from the frying pan into the fire. So running away is not the solution. That's not the response that Allah Azza wa Jal wants from you. You are supposed to fix yourself, and you're supposed to fix this society that you live in. Now, Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has defined fitna in several ways. In case anybody thinks that we are not sure whether it's the age of fitna or not, because people have always gone through it in history. There are many hadiths describing fitna. In fact, the muhaddithin have gathered these hadiths into chapters of, and they're named Kitab al-Fitna. They've compiled all these hadiths and just made a book into them all. And in one hadith, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, fitna will occur in you just like the rain falls. So fitna will occur just like downpours. That will be the age of fitna, just not one fitna, but a downpour of them. So how is this age of fitna defined in hadith? This is the age when it will be difficult to tell who is right and wrong. The Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, the time of fitna will be when it arrives, you won't be able to tell the difference who is right and who is wrong. There will be so many fitnas that you won't be able to figure out for sure who is the truthful one and who is, the wrong one. There will be many people out there trying to convince you, but deep in your heart, you won't really know for sure what's going on. I mean, it is the age where you won't be able to tell the truth from falsehood. And that is also the age of the media. The age of media actually fits very well with the age of fitna. You hear, you see, I myself don't know what to believe. There's so many the counter arguments. You say, no, that's wrong, but somebody else will say, no, it's okay, and then you think, yeah, he has a point. There's so many conspiracy theories out there. You just don't know what to believe. You can't believe right from wrong. You can't tell the differentiate anymore. That's because we're bombarded with propaganda and misinformation and fake news. So we live in a day and age where, maybe I shouldn't say this on here, but sometimes people, ask me about 9/11, and I said, oh, wallah alam, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know who caused it. I don't know who done it. Because you hear arguments on both sides. But there's so many different issues that we face that before it could have been clear cut, black and white. But now everybody, everything's changing. Everything's changing. We have gay marriages. We have, people move the gaze post all the time. And you think to yourself, well, is it right? Is it wrong? What's happening? And more. And counter-arguments and all the rest of it. So we live in a day and age where we really don't know. We don't know. The age of fitna will be such that disobedience to Allah will become widespread. This is something that is clearly apparent in every country. If you look, whether it's people, the youth or the people in the 40s, 50s, 60s, if you was with them and just inspected the 24 hours, what they do in the 24 hours, go anywhere in the country, anywhere in the world, whether it's young person or old person, if you examine their 24 hours, what they do, for some of them, the sin starts off when they sleep right through Fajr. Sutte, they don't even realize. For some of them, their entire day is spent in sins as they work in, interest in banks. For some of them, their entire day is spent, in doing sinful things, not even going towards Allah Azza wa Jal. Sin is common and widespread. And it's unrepentant and unashamedly. Sin means to do anything against the will of Allah Azza wa Jal, or to do anything against the practice and the teaching of the Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. I mean, have you ever seen anybody be ashamed that they work in a bank? Have you ever seen anybody ashamed because they deal in interest? No. Commonplace. And some of us have fooled ourselves by believing only vulgarity is sin. People say, I'm not doing anything fosh, it's vulgarity and thing. And so a person thinks that I'm not a bad person because he thinks that he doesn't do anything vulgar or obscene. Because we have misunderstood sin. The definition of sin is that anything that displeases Allah Azza wa Jal, or anything done against the pleasure of Allah Azza wa Jal, or go against the teaching of the Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Number 3, the age of fitna is such that crime will become rampant. Crimes, whether theft, burglary, corruption, bribery, murder, rape, and they've all become, they become so rampant that they don't even prosecute people for shoplifting anymore. If you have a shop and then you ring somebody and say there's somebody shoplifting, because it's so rampant, how many people are they going to prosecute? You have a burglary, you ring up, you won't see the police for 2 or 3 days. And it's become so rampant. Murder, rapes. You hear them every day. You heard about that guy who raped so many women and he only served and they're letting them out, and there's all this hurrah, that taxi driver and thing. It's commonplace. All of these burglaries, corruption, bribery, murder, rape, they've all become rampant. And these are the signs by the way which Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is mentioning will take place within the ummati of his ummati, at the age of fitna. And these are the signs that are coming. Number 4 will be people will present proofs for falsehoods which aren't proofs for it, and they will present proofs to refute the truth which aren't proofs against it. I mean, people will argue for the sake of arguing. I don't know whether I'm right or wrong, but I mean, there is people, I heard on the radio that there is still a segment of people that believe the earth is flat. And they will argue for it. Right? And if you don't take, the next time you're on the phone or the thing, go on the internet, the people who believe the earth is flat, and they still believe it to be flat in this day and age. There's a huge amount of them, and they place arguments for the earth being flat. And they're saying the Google Earth, it's only NASA's way of, they're the only ones who have only got the picture of it. The earth isn't round. What they say is that it's like a ball, it's flat, like a plate. People still believe that now. But what I'm trying to say is people will argue for the sake of arguing. Right? Intellectual wrestling, as the Mashaykh put it, just for the sake of it. And yet their argument doesn't stand either way. But these are the signs that the Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam mentioned 1400 years ago, that these are the signs. Number 5, that in the time of fitna, one of the signs is that will occur in the ummah is 2 groups of Muslim ummah will fight one another and kill one another. And the one killing the other one, not knowing why he killed the other one, and the one killed will not know for which crime he was killed. I mean, you think about this. You know, we talk about the state of affairs in the dunya. But did you know it's a fact that more Muslims are killed by Muslims than non-Muslims? Wherever it be the fitna in the world, wherever it is, more Muslims are killed by Muslims. Whether it be in Iraq, whether it's in, Afghanistan, wherever it is, or all in the Middle East, most Muslims are killed by Muslims. And this hadith, the signs of fitna, the Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam told us that when 2 Muslims, the Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, when 2 Muslims meet one another with weapons, both the killer and the being killed will both go to Jahannam. These days, some of you like to think that both are shaheed. People, we do, shaheed ho gaya, abhi shaheed ho gaya. 2 Muslims fighting each other, shaheed. The Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam saying, when 2 Muslims come with each other with arms, they're both Jahannami according to the Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It's because they're both intended to kill each other without justification. So me and you are living in these difficult times, and we're living in the age of fitna. In this age of fitna, it's all the more important for us to know what our deen tells us. It goes on. There are certain signs, and these signs are going to take place inside the ummah. That indicates the closeness of the end of time. Now, people don't understand that, don't realize, in fact, many of you enjoy reading the hadiths, of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam about the end of times. But when you signal something to a person, you want them to get the signal. So by giving the alamats, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam wants us to realize that we're living in the time of the end of times. There's a particular fitna that related to this end of times, and that fitna is called fitna al-Dajjal. And this is the greatest fitna that's going to inflict the humanity. Even Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to make the dua, Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min fitna al-Dajjal. Right? That Allah, I seek refuge in you for the fitna of the Dajjal. Such a big fitna. The Sahaba Kiram used to make the same dua, the Tabi'een, all the great Muslims. Because they had taqwa, and they sought refuge from the fitna of Dajjal. When us guys, we have such a weak iman and taqwa, we don't even, thinking about it. We don't even open our eyes to what's happening around us. We're not even realizing that the age of fitna of Dajjal has begun. Right? Now, people, have been saying this for ages, They go on, but we've got to see, with relating to the hadith. Now, nobody knows when the Dajjal will show himself. Right? Nobody can tell you where he will make himself apparent, or where he's going to take place, or when nobody's going to tell you that. But, but the fajr of that age has begun, because the alamats, the signs are there. So when does fajr, an example, so when does fajr begin? Fajr begins an hour and a half before sunrise. Right? So when you start seeing the signs, right, you see the signs of fajr beginning. You see the light coming through, right? So in the same way, these are signs. It's not saying it's now, but if you take the history of time, we are at the end now. There is a hadith relating to that as well. The Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, the sun is about to set upon the creation of Allah to the nearest meaning. right? Just like the time of Asr at the end of the day is almost coming, right? So if you look at the history of the world that has had billions of years, and now it's almost at its end. So if the alamas are there, so it means the time is coming near. Nobody can ever tell you how close we are. So, it could be in the next 10 years, 20 years, 50 years, 100 years, 500 years, don't know, right? But it means that Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam wants us to take a lesson that time is close. We're living close to that time. We're drenched in these realities, and the Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has given us these signs. He gave us all these hadiths 1400 years ago, but we can't take a simple, lessons from them or ibrat from them. And there is a saying in Arabic: a good person is he who takes ibrat from other people. A good person is someone who takes a lesson from other people. While the misfortune or badbakht person, he becomes an ibrat for other people. So you have two choices, right? Either we choose to take a lesson from these hadiths, and if we don't take lessons and fix ourselves, then we'll become a lesson for other people to learn from, to learn from. What I'm going to do, I prepared a whole long lecture really, but what I'll do, I'll continue from here. The next one is the Ummah will miss their prayers. I'll just cover this one inshallah and then we'll carry on. This is one of the signs too, that the Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is saying is, my Ummah will miss their prayers. Now, just think about this for a second. Imagine who is listening to this. Me and you are listening to this now, but imagine the Sahaba Kiram listening to this. They would have been stunned, absolutely. In our day language, we were gobsmacked. That, Ya Rasulullah, we're giving our lives, in Badr and Uhud and for the deen. We're giving our lives for the sake of this ummah that is yet to come. So it continues, that this deen continues, this ummah continues. And you're telling us there will come a time when this ummah will voluntarily, without any reason, will leave their salah, which to them was more basic and more essential than food and drink. And I was thinking about that today. And I was thinking, Hazrat Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anh, they were praying namaz in the open, and the mushrikeen beat them so much so that they fainted and became unconscious. And we leave our prayers voluntarily. And they stood the beatings. The Muslims used to be beaten upon whenever they were seen by the mushrikeen to read salah, and they continue. And I was thinking, if there was a law out saying nobody could ever read salah out in the open, nobody would. And if they brought out a law, nobody can go to a masjid or thing, we say, oh, shukar and jan chutiya, we don't have to go to masjid now. Right? But there isn't. When we're in total freedom to worship Allah Azza wa Jal. And we can only imagine what the Sahaba must have thought at that moment. They would have thought that surely such a thing would be the beginning of the end. They would have thought that such a state of an ummah would miss a Fajr Salah. But if you think, there are very few Muslims left today who pray 5 times a day. Think about that. I was in Dubai a few months back. I was in one of their famous shopping malls. And they have this beautiful azan that comes on through the whole shopping mall. But does it stop? No. And you know when you go to the airport and you read namaz there, and you see about 5-6 people in the masjid that they have, that's what it was like. Literally the shopping mall must be, I don't know, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 times bigger than Trafford Centre. So you can imagine the amount of people it holds. And being a Muslim country, majority, a lot of people are tourists, but majority would be Muslims. And then you go inside and see how many people are actually reading Salah. And you'll be astounded. Right? We know about our own masjids, what the halat is in the mornings. How many people? 5, 6, 10, 15 people maximum. You know, and it's very shocking for me. But it's like telling you that you don't have, we don't have the basic such things. It's like water for a Muslim. For a Muslim, it should be offensive for somebody to say, do you read 5 times a day? That's an insult for somebody to even ask you. Something about Salah people don't understand. It's not voluntary. It's not something you can take or leave. Did you know you cannot, every Salah, you have to perform it. You can cry as much as you like. You can do as many hajj as you want. You could do as many itikafs as you want. You can do as many umrahs as you want. You can cry till you have no tears and you're crying tears of blood. But every salah that you've ever missed is not going to be forgiven. Think about that. You have to pay your debt. And yet Allah Azza wa Jalla is so merciful that He will change your sins into good deeds. He will even forgive shirk if you do sachi tawbah. But He will not forgive you for the missing your salah. Think about that. So why not just pay your due? Never miss another salah. If I have to pay you your tenner today, I know I'm going to pay it tomorrow, the thing is you're never going to let me off, I might as well just give it you now. If Allah Azza wa Jalla is never going to let you off, you might as well make sure you give it ada instead of qaza, because you still have to give it. But that is, but that's for the mu'mineen who have almost died out. Allazina amanu are endangered species now. A neck Muslim today is one who prays 4 times a day because he's slept through Fajr. A university neck person is one who prays, just the Jummahs. That's a university neck. And, our uncles who are neck, they read Eid namaz once, twice a year, and we say, call that neck. Because everybody judges themselves by different standards. Because in a Dadi Rakli, you see them on Eid day, we say, bada neck. So somebody who just goes to Jummah. Have you ever wondered why Jummah is full, and yet during the week is, empty? That's because some people only pray Jummah. But as a basic, which I am going to leave it here because otherwise it's going to go on too long. Thank you for coming. Please forgive me if I've said anything untoward or something that is from myself. If I've said anything that's inspired you, that is from Allah Azza wa Jal. Please pray for me and pray for each other. Like I said a little while back, a candle that lights another candle loses nothing of itself. A brother who prays for his brother loses nothing of the reward for himself. In fact, he gains. Allah Azza wa Jal then creates an angel for him who prays for him. So always pray for each other. Please pray for me as well. Jazakallah. Wa ma alayna illa al-balagh.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Jazakallah khair to Ustad Shafiq for the wonderful reminder. As you may be aware, in this centre, as well as other centres across the Northwest, there is a course of self-purification that is taught, known as Tazkiyatun Nafs. If you would like any more information, please approach myself after the majlis of dhikr, and I will point you in the right direction of the brother who will be leading the study circle. A Pakistan Dawah trip has begun, which is continuing over 2 months. You are encouraged to invite family members who are in Pakistan about the up and coming dates, maybe in your locality. Please keep yourself posted for the latest updates on Facebook. Sheikh Ahmed Dabag page. Please like and share all posts on Facebook. For those who cannot sacrifice their time or money in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this is a wonderful way to complete a great sunnah, which is of da'wah. As the Mashaykhs mentioned, that in every instance we can either be getting closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or we could be going away. And how wonderful is it that we may spend many time on Facebook, and we could be attaining the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by constantly sharing, liking, encouraging other people. So one is encouraged to like and share beneficial reminders, inshallah. If you like tips and advice at your fingertips, then there is a public WhatsApp group and Telegram group called Ibris. For anyone who wants their questions answered, questions in the topics of fiqh, aqidah, and namely the path to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then please give your names to Brother Shabir Hassan so you may be added to the group. There is a free collective healing session on the 24th of January in Bolton Medina Masjid. I was actually speaking to someone who had a spiritual illness, and they informed me that they went to a person, and that person charged somewhere in the region of £800 per visit, and that person had about 18 visits, and the person had 18 visits and nothing came from them visits. So the emphasis is this is a free healing session that coincides with Quran and Sunnah. So one is encouraged to join and to tell other people. If one has spiritual illnesses, mental illnesses, or even physical illnesses, then please come down on January the 24th in Bolton Medina Masjid on St. George's Road. Unity TM presents the Revival Retreat. This will be taking place on Friday the 13th of April to Sunday the 15th of April. The activities include fencing and much more activities. There will also be collective workshops on how to overcome addictions, marital problems, and much more. So for the first 20 people, there's a special price of £99, but the people need to book ASAP, as there are limited spaces available. Now I will request yourselves to stand up and let some blood rush to your legs. Now there will be a majlis of dhikr, and the etiquettes for this is follow the brother who is leading the dhikr. You can all be seated, inshallah, as well. You can all be seated as well, inshallah. Follow the brother who is doing the dhikr. Try not to go ahead. This is a loud dhikr, so please raise your voices. The brother has a microphone, so I really don't think that you'll be going louder than the brother. So please stay with the brothers, and this is a loud dhikr. I request the brother to come forward, inshallah. You may be seated. Jazakallah khair.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. فقال عز وجل: إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على سيدنا ومولانا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وسلم. اللهم صل على سيدنا ومولانا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. اللهم صل على سيدنا ومولانا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وسلم. مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا. مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا. مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم. على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم. على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم محمد سيد الكونين والثقلين محمد سيد الكونين والثقلين والفريقين من قرب ومن عجم والفريقين من قرب ومن عجم مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق هو الحبيب الذي ترجى شفاعته هو الحبيب الذي ترجى شفاعته لكل حول من الأهوال مقتهم لكل حول من الأحوال مقتهم مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم فقال عز وجل أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم فاذكروني أذكركم واشكروا لي ولا تكفرون لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله لا إله لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله لا إله الله لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله 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 لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله 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 لا إله 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 إلا الله إلا الله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله إلا الله إلا الله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله لا إله الله لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله إلا الله إلا الله إلا الله يا 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 رحمن يا رحمن يا رحمن يا رحمن يا رحمن يا رحمن يا رحيم 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 الله الله محمد رسول الله لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله. ربي اغفر وارحم وأنت خير الراحمين. 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 أنت خير الراحمين. أنت خير الراحمين. أنت خير الراحمين. أنت خير الراحمين. ربي اغفر وارحم وأنت 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 خير الراحمين. أنت خير الراحمين. أنت خير الراحمين. ربي اغفر وارحم وأنت خير الراحمين. ربي اغفر وارحم وأنت خير الراحمين. أستغفر الله الذي لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم وأتوب إليه. أستغفر الله الذي لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم وأتوب إليه. أستغفر الله الذي لا إله إلا هو 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 الحي القيوم وأتوب إليه اللهم صل على سيدنا ومولانا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وسلم اللهم صل على سيدنا ومولانا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وسلم اللهم صل على سيدنا ومولانا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وسلم وعلى آله وصحبه.
Inshallah, if you just keep yourself in the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, just for about 10 minutes or so, along with the teacher, inshallah, we'll do a muraqabah and meditation. Firstly, for a short while, when they mention thinking about our sins and asking for forgiveness, and then thinking about the blessings and thanking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for them, and then asking Allah for our needs and our hajats, and then for our pareshanis and our problems, for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to remove them, and then asking for guidance in all matters, inshallah, and then relying on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, inshallah. So just continue to be in the state of remembrance, inshallah.
अल्लाह का नाम हजूरी अल्लाह की याद दिलों में शुरू की उन्हें दिल दिमाग में ताज़ा करे और साथ ही फिर उस ज़ात के सामने इतनी बड़ी ज़ात, इतनी ताकत वाली ज़ात, इतनी कुदरत वाली, जब्बार और कहार, वहाब और रज़्ज़ाक़। सोचे कि मैं किसी आम बंदे, किसी पुलिस अफसर भी नजर आ रहे उसके सामने जोड़ जोड़ी नहीं करता, डरता है। तो मैं अल्लाह की मौजूदगी में, अल्लाह मुझे देख रहा था मैंने क्या क्या इस जिंदगी में किया, अपने इस रात के गुनाह या पहले जिंदगी के गुनाह, 7 गुनाह अगर ज़्यादा नहीं याद आ रहे तो बड़े बड़े जिसको बंदा समझता है बहुत बड़े हैं, उनको ताज़ा करे, अपनी जिंदगी में निजामत और शर्मिंदगी लेके आए और अल्लाह की बारगाह में पेश करे और आइंदा बचने का इरादा करे। हम फिर अल्लाह पाक की तरफ मुतवज्जे हो थे और दिल ही दिल में अल्लाह का जिक्र करे। मैं पढ़ रहा हूँ, जनाब सुने और दिल अल्लाह का मेरे साथ साथ जिक्र करे। ला इलाहा इल्लल्लाह, ला इलाहा इल्लल्लाह, अल्लाह 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 पाक की इतनी बड़ी ज़ात, इतनी रहीम और करीम, जिसने सारी मखलूक को पैदा किया और सबको पाल रहा है, खुद फरमाता है वो रब्बुल आलमीन है, आलमीन का रब है, सारों के मालिक। तो उसने कितनी नेमतें पैदा फरमाई। अब हम भी उन नेमतों को याद करें, नेमतों को ताज़ा करें और दिल में अल्लाह की मोहब्बत के पैदा होगी और अल्लाह के शुक्र से हमारा दिल भर दे, एहसान से दिल भर दे, दिल शुक्रिया की तरफ और एहसान की तरफ आ जाए। तो जब ऐसा दिल में आता है किसी को फिर शुक्रिया कहते हैं और फिर अल्लाह पाक से मांगे कि मैं तेरी नेमतों में दूसरों को भी शरीक करूँ और तेरी मखलूक के साथ भी बन लूँ। देखिए अल्लाह की कितनी बड़ी नेमत, अल्लाह ने कितना बड़ा आसमान पैदा किया वो हमारे लिए। हम पर छत पर लगा हो तो हम तबाह हो गए, फिर उसमें सूरज, उसमें लाइट लगाई हमारे लिए कि बंदों को जरूरत है। ये बड़ी नेमत है, उसका कभी बिल नहीं आया, कभी वो खराब नहीं हुआ, किसी को बुलाना पड़े। अल्लाह ने ऐसे ही तकलीफ फरमाई। उसके बाद रात में अल्लाह पाक ने चांद बनाया तो बंदों के आराम के लिए, ताकि इसकी रोशनी बंदों को डिस्टर्ब ना करे, बंदों को नींद को से बिगा न दे। अल्लाह ने उसकी रोशनी कम रखी है सूरज के जरिए। देखिए अल्लाह पाक बंदों के आराम का कितना इंतजाम किया कि ज़्यादा रोशनी भी न हो। और आसमान की तरफ देखें तो इनको इतने सितारे खूबसूरत डेकोरेशन नजर आए कि इनकी आंखें ठंडी हों। तो अल्लाह पाक ने ये मोहब्बत का इजहार किया कि सितारे बंदों की आंखों की ठंडक और चांद को भी ऐसा बनाया नेमतें हैं। उसके बाद अल्लाह ने ज़मीन बनाई, चलने के लिए इस्तेमाल हो रही है। वो इसमें पानी अल्लाह पाक निकाल रहा है। हम पानी पी रहे, ना पानी होता तो हम क्या करते, मर जाते फौरन बड़ी जल्दी। उसके साथ साथ फिर जो है पानी नहीं, उसमें सोना भी रखा, उसमें चांदी भी रखी, उसमें प्लास्टिक भी रखा, उसमें लोहा भी रखा, सारी चीज़ें उससे बन रही हैं। फिर यही नहीं, उस ज़मीन से अल्लाह पाक ने दरख्त उगाए, जिससे हम मकान बनाते हैं, चीज़ें बनाते हैं। फिर अल्लाह पाक ने उससे सब्जियाँ उगाई, और देखिए कितनी किस्म की सब्जियाँ, कितने किस्म के फल, कितने किस्म की गंदम, और कितने किस्म के फल हैं कि आम के सैकड़ों किस्में हैं, सेब की सैकड़ों किस्में हैं। और अल्लाह पाक ने उनमें जायका पैदा किया हमारे लिए। अल्लाह को इस बात से बात है कि ये बंदे खाएंगे, इनको मज़ा आए, इनको लुत्फ आए, तो ये अल्लाह की कितनी नेमतें हैं। फिर उनके मुख्तलिफ रंग पैदा किए। रंग का क्या फ़ायदा, उससे मज़ा तो नहीं बदलता, लेकिन अल्लाह पाक ने कहा कि मेरे बंदे जब देखें तो उनको अच्छा लगे, मेरे बंदे जब देखें उनको लुत्फ आए। तो ऐसी करीम और रहीम अल्लाह पाक की बात है। उसने फिर मज़ा बनाया, नाशपाती का लहदा, सब्ज़ सेब का लहदा, सुर्ख सेब का लहदा, अंगूर का लहदा। क्यों? मेरे बंदे खुश हों, मेरे बंदों को ये लुत्फ आए। तो ऐसी रात जो माँ से भी ज़्यादा रहम करने वाली, मोहब्बत करने वाली, तो उसका तो एहसान से बंदे को उठना ही नहीं चाहिए सजदा से सर। उसके एहसान से, उसकी मोहब्बत के जवाब में तो हज़ारों बंदे का दिल चाहे मैं पूरा काम करूँ, लेकिन उसकी नाफरमानी की तरफ जाए ना, कि ऐसे करीम ज़ात की नाफरमानी करना बंदे को बता ही नहीं है। वो उसकी मोहब्बत में तो इस तरह अल्लाह पाक की बहुत सारी नेमतों पर अल्लाह ने औलाद दी, इस तरह किया करे। और अपनी हाजतें हम उतार दें, रात दिन हम उतार दें, तब वो अल्लाह पाक की बारगाह में पेश करें अपनी हाजतें। आपको क्या ज़रूरत है? अल्लाह पाक पहले आसमान पर तशरीफ लाता है, रात के आखिरी पहर में फरमाता है कोई गुनाह की बख्शिश चाहने वाला, इसलिए हम बख्शिश मांगते हैं। है कोई हाजतें चाहने वाला, है कोई परेशानी मदद चाहने वाला, हम इसलिए अल्लाह पाक से अल्लाह पसंद करता है हमारे अपने दीनी हाजतें, अपनी दुनियावी रूहानी हर तरह के अल्लाह पाक की बारगाह में पेश करें। अल्लाह हमारी सबसे बड़ी हाजत तू है, सबसे बड़ी आरज़ू तू है। तू हमें मिल गया तो सब कुछ मिल गया, हमें अपना बना ले तो तू हमारा बन गए। और हमें हमारी सबसे बड़ी हाजत हबीब अलैहिस्सलाम की मोहब्बत है, हमें वो अता फरमा और नबी अलैहिस्सलाम को अता फरमा। उसके बाद हमें अपनी रज़ा की जन्नत दुनिया में भी रहमतें बरकत अता फरमा, रिज़्क़ में वुसअत अता फरमा, उम्र में बरकत अता फरमा, सेहत में बरकत अता फरमा। दिल दिल से अल्लाह से बातें करें और मांगे जो चाहते हैं। परेशानियां अल्लाह पाक की बारगाह में पेश करें। अल्लाह अपनी परेशानियां, अपनी मुश्किलें, अपनी मुसीबतें, मुश्किलें, रुकावटें जो भी चीज़ आ रही है, परेशान कर रही है, बंदा परेशान कर रहा है, बीमारी परेशान कर रही है, जिन्नात परेशान कर रहे हैं, जादू परेशान कर रहा है, कोई चीज़ अल्लाह के सामने कोई बड़ा नहीं। अल्लाह पाक जो है सबसे बड़ा है। कोई ना कोई जिन्न, ना कोई बीमारी, ना कोई शहर, बिल्कुल ना फरिश्ते। अल्लाह की बारगाह में हर चीज़ जो है वो सरलगू है, उससे परेशानियों का हल मांगे। या हल्लल मुश्किलात, या काफियल मुश्किलात, या शाफियल अमराद, या अरहमर राहिमीन। ऐ मुश्किलों के हल और बीमारियों से शिफा और गुनाहों को, मुसीबतों को दूर करने वाली ज़ात, हम तुझसे मांग रहे हैं। اهدنا الصراط المستقيم يا هادي يا الله. और आखिर पर सारे मामलात को समेट के अल्लाह की बारगाह में पेश करें, अल्लाह के हवाले करते हैं। अल्लाह तू जानता है, हम नहीं जानते, तू कुदरत रखता है, हम नहीं रखते, तू हमारी बेहतरीन जानता है, हम नहीं जानते। हम तुझ पर भरोसा करते हैं, जो तू फैसला फरमाए वही हमारे लिए बेहतर होगा और उसी पे हमें खुशी को राजी रख। ولا مريضا إلا شفيته ولا ميتا إلا غفرته ولا